Hi, welcome to another episode of Family Dynamics. It's Liz.
It's Katherine.
And I'm Ed.
And John.
So did everybody get the group text from Mom who wants to start up the family dinners again?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. No, you don't want...
No, I'm fine with it, but I mean...
Well, hold on. A teeny bit of backstory.
Yes.
Many years ago,
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID. I was going to say like 5 years ago. I don't know if that's
No, it was
accurate.
just pre-COVID.
Okay.
Right?
No, when we started them, we were doing them for a while.
Family dinners.
Family
Sunday.
dinners. So
family
Sunday dinners.
First Sunday.
First Sunday of the month. And the idea was that whoever could come would come and there would be no pressure. Not like the level of a holiday or a birthday. Just like an additional, just everybody get together on first Sunday at Graham Mary's. And so that she didn't have to worry about what to cook. She would always cook the same thing, baked chicken and mashed potatoes.
Yeah, and that first meal, I mean, because I catered and I like to entertain, I thought, well, it can't just be chicken and mashed potatoes.
But that is what she was thinking.
That's what it was the first time. So needless to say, we've added a few elements.
Well,
Unfortunately.
No, John, you're completely wrong about this.
Okay, well, the part of the idea was...
The concept is bad, so let's still do it.
No, I like the chicken and mashed potatoes. It needs a green. It needs a salad or something.
Something, like a side.
If it's autumn, I like a green bean.
It needs a teenager to volunteer to do the dishes afterwards. Oh, that's why it was such a simplified menu, because the three people that live there were like, we don't want to clean up.
But-
we're inviting you over, and don't make a mess, please.
But the salad, now someone brings it and you can take your bowl home with you.
Yes.
And then when we first started this, we still have a bit of a group of picky eaters. And so we needed bread. I was like, they're kids. The primary thing they're going to eat during the meal is bread and butter.
Bread and butter is always a winner.
That's really interesting that you bring that up, because as we're diving into this episode, and I don't want to derail us early into this topic, but bread will not be on the menu for some people coming up very, very, very soon.
Right.
And it definitely was like the main course. Bread and butter was the main course for some of these.
Yeah, well, there's going to have to be gluten-free options from now on.
Yep.
I mean...
There are quite a few family members
by the
now that
way,
are highly sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there's already an existing gluten-free Wondra, which is the flour that would be added to the chicken.
I've had to deal... Well... When I've made Thanksgiving dinner and the gravy, and when I started to be sensitive about that, not that I wasn't before, it just was like, oh, okay, gravy, you had flour to thicken it. I will use an alternative.
What we haven't exactly explained is we had two very gluten-sensitive people for the last number of years.
Yeah.
That they figured that out for themselves. And then just very recently in the last months, now turns out we have two additional now gluten intolerant people. So
Yeah, full official celiac disease.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It changes how important it is
For
to
sure.
look at. Yeah.
Yeah, because even on that baked chicken on Sunday night, Mom would put a little bit of flour on there.
Oh, yeah, she can't do that.
Can't do that. But there is alternatives. So Rosie, our sister, who's been on the podcast, brought me over a gluten-free flour substitute.
Oh, great.
For the gravy the last couple Thanksgiving. So the gravy at Thanksgiving has not had Wondra.
Wondra is a very easy dissolvable flour that is great for
Yes.
gravy. This is not something... I'm not a gravy maker, so I don't know these things.
Mom,
These are the
I make
gravy
other
secrets.
things.
you're a liar, but go ahead.
I don't make gravy from scratch.
You are saucy, just not very gravy.
yeah, there's a difference between au jus people and gravy. So
Well, I'll start with like a gravy base, like, some kind of jar or whatever, and then
Yeah.
I'll zhuzh it up.
yeah,
But
Trader
I never
Joe's
do
has
like
that turkey gravy seasonally that if you're running low, you can just dump that in your gravy and
Yeah, it's a good starter.
fill it out.
I like to put a little bit of things in it, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to start from scratch.
But I will say gluten-free alternative in the gravy is a real thickener, motherfucker, because I have added and been like, I just made gravy pudding. So then you have to add more,
liquid.
to kind of
And now there's
loosen
no
it
more
up.
drippings.
Ooh, delicious meat flan.
Well, seriously, the next day, if you store some of it in the refrigerator and take it out, you're not off in the consistency that it comes out. You're like, that needs to be microwaved. So,
Well, I'm excited that we're going to start Sunday dinners again. I mean, that's what we're going to do, right? I mean, that's
Honestly, I'm just
nobody
now-
responded to the text. I don't think.
well, because and John and I have discussed this off to the side. The first Sunday dinner is July 3rd, which is 4th of July weekend.
That always happens. And no one wants to do it. Everyone's out.
And this year, 4th of July is on a Monday. So a lot of celebrations and obligations or pre-parties are going to be that Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I cannot commit.
Oh, no.
Actually, I think I already have plans. Let me check my
probably.
calendar right now. But yeah, no, I think, I just looked at it and went, crap. I just have a feeling that weekend's going to be rough for me. That's all.
Oh, did the text say she couldn't do it this month, meaning
yes,
June?
I have a party July 3rd.
Okay,
that I'm
well,
going to
there you
commit to. So,
Well, theoretically, it's whoever can come can come.
Right,
No one
right.
can come.
Well, that's the upshot of the once a month chicken dinner is that it doesn't matter if no one shows up. Two chickens will be cooked. There will be bones. They will be scraped clean of all the meat, and then there will be soup.
Grand Mary and her chicken
I'm not
soup.
sure we'll exactly proceed in that direction with just the three of us, but sort of.
well,
yes.
the first time she ever did it, going back to just the mashed potatoes and chicken, she also quite honestly did not have enough chicken. It was
that's true.
Because I think she sort of forgot that, these are adults she's feeding now. All of us showed up the first time. It was like, and, Jack and Luke, our two nephews, we have bigger appetites to fill. So it was like, oh, Lordy.
One skinchy little leg is not going to cut it.
Yeah, I think it's just more about the number of people and maybe not knowing ahead of time.
Yeah. I mean, so I think going forward, you have to kind of RSVP. But this July 3rd is, I think, a tough one to launch on. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe that's not the comeback date. I mean, it is, so.
Why are we? This is so terrible. Here's the deal. It's whoever can come. We didn't do it last time because there was a problem with scheduling. Oh, if we don't do it this time, there's a problem with scheduling. So then the next time, also in the summer, problem with so you just do it anyway.
It's
That's
just
the point.
whoever. Look, I mean,
I'd like a fall launch just to
okay.
throw gasoline on this fire.
For the person who isn't hosting and is
Yeah, I
only
know.
adding to it, no thanks.
well,
It's
here's the thing.
gasoline.
You're not going to be there, so don't worry about it.
Exactly. The good news is whether or not you show up, you'll get some FOMO and you'll show up.
No, she
Because
won't. She'll
as soon as you hear that
No.
that chicken was the best it's ever been. It's the
she
best
won't.
chicken it's ever
She'll be
been.
at a
This time
party.
you missed it.
Rosie at a party. She'll be very satisfied with her
Rosie
decision.
does like to hear about, say, if she misses a family holiday because she's at her other relatives' home or a family dinner. She'll always ask, like, well, how did the food turned out?
Really? Oh, that's
yeah.
funny.
She's very curious about. And I'm
all
like,
right.
no, you missed a good one, or I don't know.
No, you didn't miss
miss much, or this was
Yeah.
a really good one.
Overly critical.
Well, okay. Background. I mean, we've talked about on the podcast, our mother growing up was a very good cook. And her father owned restaurants. And we've gotten into some of that on the podcast. I think we
Yeah, a
got
little bit.
into the cafeteria.
Seven
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And the breakfast counter. And so she grew
She's
up in
very
a house
skilled.
that appreciated food and then brought that primarily to our house. I mean, when you think,
I mean, the food appreciation exclusively comes from mom, right?
well, Dad appreciated her food. He himself will always say he grew up in sort of a bland palate household. And Katherine and I can somewhat attest to that from some visits that we took. It was like we went back to visit our grandmother, Grammy, and I had not seen anybody boil vegetables in quite a few years because California was like we'd all
was
transferred
steaming.
to steaming to maintain the nutritional value and taste to it. So before we left, I got our aunt who graciously hosted us, and we had a great trip. I got her Cooking with Rosie, the Oprah book on how to cook. And I said the vegetable chapter might be really intriguing. But Dad appreciated Mom's cooking, and Mom was adventurous, sometimes too adventurous.
Well, and I think she was just very confident. She was never scared to try stuff
Oh,
because
no.
she had all those skills just built in, and also just was bold. Was like, I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna try and whatever.
I think the only recipe I know of our father's is his classic honeymoon salad. It's just lettuce alone.
Yeah,
But
that's his joke. Let us alone. I remember he would make scrambled eggs and put brewer's yeast on them.
But
what is
everybody that was the older generation. The younger generation never had that because there was such a resistance to
No,
it.
he just did his soft boiled eggs. That was about it.
He had
he would warm up those little pecan rolls. The little, the ones that like a pack of 6 was like 99 cents.
He did like
so
those.
not a real highbrow food feature coming out of our father. No.
Some of the kids always knew how to embellish. So I remember taking those pecan rolls, putting them in
Pecan twirlies. That's what it
twirlies,
is. There you go.
putting them in the toaster oven, and then when they came out, putting a little dab of butter on them.
Oh, well, yeah.
You also remember that when that toaster oven came around, right?
No. So you're right. It was probably nuking. No, I think we put them in the main oven. We were warming up in the main oven because we got the toaster oven after Dad died. You're right.
The interesting thing about that would be, and who did you pass this knowledge on to?
Nobody.
No, she kept it a secret.
Yeah. That really enhanced its value.
For you.
I learned the full value of a pecan twirly pack in college because you get to eat the whole thing yourself when you buy it for yourself. You don't have to get any. You
But you would warm
all
it up,
6
right?
of them and warm up, put butter on all of them, and gain your freshman 20. Do it.
Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's like Dad liked the knockoff Hostess pies, and you got to nuke those suckers, man.
Oh, that's a good
you think
idea.
he had
I
Oh
wouldn't
my
have even-
God!
yeah.
If you nuked the boysenberry one, it was like, where am I? A diner? It's fabulous.
I'm just wondering if he had like a favorite on set, like crafty food.
Oh,
Because for sure he had
know.
a sweet tooth that was like
Yeah.
the real stupid sweet tooth, like the bottom of the barrel sweet tooth.
Oh my God.
Speaking of the bottom of the barrel, those apples he would buy are literally still the worst apples. They were like the ones that fell off the side of the road. Then the Wizard of Oz, the evil trees picked up and
Throwing
threw
it at
at
you.
Dorothy and the lion. They were like crab apples.
Little hard
And as
rocks.
a kid, you're like, these are horrible.
But they were inexpensive, and you got like a bag for like
20.
It's.
I were trying to make, and we're trying to make homemade applesauce out of them. You would try to make something out of them. And you're like, these are the worst.
Well, we would get inventive with what was in the house trying to make stuff. Sort of like you take the baker's chocolate and be like, what if I melted the baker's chocolate and added sugar? Then would it be
No.
actual chocolate?
No.
It's still gross.
No,
Oh.
it's grainy nastiness. That's really gross. And now it's all over your face and your teeth, and you made a huge mess. And you have to figure out how to cover it up because you just burned some resources. Someone's gonna need that for a cake.
I remember when Mom, I was in the kitchen a lot. I liked to watch her cook. I liked to help. So one time she was cooking tongue.
Oh, God.
Ooh. And as a kid, I was like, wait, what is that? She's like, oh, it's a piece of meat. I'm like, yeah. Here's the news flash, people. It looks like a tongue.
It is a tongue.
So even as a kid, I was like, whoa, lady. What are you up to? I'm like, what
I see
is
what's
that?
happening.
I'm like, what is that happening? And so she tried to say meat, various meat, a piece of
She
the
was
cow.
trying
like
to
everything.
skirt the issue.
Because then, you remember I could also have, I was an adventurous eater, but I was, I could almost faint or dry heave. So she told me, and I think I passed out. So, and it's like, shh, don't listen. Don't tell anybody.
Was she feeding the whole family this
Yes.
for dinner? Oh, okay.
There's definitely like you have to eat everything off of this animal vibe. And then there's the, I don't think we have to eat everything off this animal.
No, we didn't. It wasn't like we bought or
No,
killed the
yeah.
animal. So
No,
it was
no.
like, we didn't like hunt it. Sorry, we didn't hunt and, have.
No, of course.
I mean, more like our parents had a much more open palate to like liver and onions and tongue, whereas you're like, French cuisine, thank you. Maybe
no,
a
thank you.
snail, no thanks.
I remember Dad, there's only 2 times I saw him like get angry. I remember him getting angry at Mom about what she was serving for dinner. The tongue one was like, come on, Mary. And then it was liver because really the only people who were down for liver, and even Dad was sort of like, okay. James, I think, still likes liver, doesn't he, John?
he still likes tongue.
I don't know. You can't engage in this level of
right.
or
Speculation?
indulge. Well, no, I'm saying even if he were to say this, I would not indulge and believe him.
Well,
I was at Denny's with Dad, and he ordered liver and onions. So,
Denny's?
Yeah.
What? Why would you? Oh, my. That's.
If you got a hankering, I guess.
Whew,
I
okay.
do remember very specifically when Mom would cook liver, and this was.
There's no hiding that smell either.
No, but she did the classic where she's like sauteing onions in butter and a little bit of garlic.
What
it
a
smells
tease.
amazing.
What a tease.
And then she's gonna make liver. You're like, oh
know. So James, this is why I know John, he eats tongue, because when he was living, I think in Atlanta, he was coming into town for a visit, and he asked Katherine, myself, and I think it might have been even Virginia and Rosemary. He met his sisters for dinner at a place in, I want to say Santa Monica. It was this huge, sort of very upscale diner vibe, or delicatessen vibe, actually.
Well, a delicatessen.
Yeah, and so we all ordered various pastrami's, corned beef, turkey. Might have been when Rosie and Virginia were not eating meat. I cannot remember. And if it was, wow, James, way to really shove
timing.
it. Way to shove it down their throat. Pun intended. Because he ordered a tongue sandwich, and I mean, all of us just literally stopped. And it was like, but see, here's the thing. Now the world, because of what Ed was talking about, almost, eating tail to nose, tip to tip, and the theory of all of this, of where every part of the animal can be delicious depending on how it was prepared.
Don't waste anything.
Really, tongue prepared right, I mean, sorry, everybody, this is grossing everybody out, but is almost like baloney. So that's where James was going with it. But
That's baloney. No.
Tongue tastes like bologna. Believe that.
I don't know. So that was definitely, I remember, a meal that Dad got very mad at Mom. Like, what are you even trying to pull here, lady?
I
I
mean,
was
why would
sitting
you
there like
try
a
and
co-conspirator, like about to faint. I'm like, I can't even do it. I was like, no. And I don't remember how she served it or how she sliced it. But when you're trying to come up with meals for at least 8 people, because there was always 6 kids basically living there during the prime years, and Dad and her, that is a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
And come up with new ideas.
She did like to do different things.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
And it was pre, Uber Eats, Grubhub, delivery. I mean, I don't even know if we've got a pizza delivered. Rarely.
No.
Rarely. And we almost
Oh
never
my
went out
God.
to dinner.
You remember Mama Celeste, the frozen pizza that we used to get? Yeah, that was our pizza.
Well, no, it wasn't pizza DiGiorno. What does anyone remember? It was the pizza bread it was a pizza.
Boboli.
Mm-hmm. Oh, remember when they came out? The big one came out, and then we all got gourmand on that. But when
We
the
got excited.
individuals, I think I had a party where we made their own individual pizzas, the little individual ones. And it was like, it really was, it was nothing close to what really pizza does supposed to be.
No, it's pretty bready.
It's bread.
Yeah.
But
It's a round bread frisbee.
and it's already like cooked thoroughly through. So you're just really melting your toppings on top of it.
Yeah.
But we were like, ooh, la, 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 la.
Exciting. Well, more exciting than a Mama Celeste pizza.
We also did Vandy camps.
Oh, my
those
God.
enchiladas actually were good, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I was thinking when you said Vandy camps, I for some reason was flashing on those camp steaks.
Camp steaks? Oh, yeah.
which
That's
is a
what I was
different
thinking of.
thing. So Vandy camps, that was like frozen enchiladas, right?
I think so, yeah.
Vandy Camps was like the
No?
generic brand that was slightly above the store brand, but actually was just the store brand with a slightly different label on it. And I'm like,
How do you know that?
Fight me on that. But it's like
How do you know that?
the Premium Select. Yeah, that's still the brand name of the store. It's just, this isn't the stuff that got knocked around in the truck.
I don't know your
Maybe.
sources on that one.
Vandy Camps for sure feels like a store brand upgrade.
Well, I do
But
remember another
maybe I'm wrong.
time
Maybe
that
there's
Mom.
a Vandy Camp farm somewhere I'm totally off base on.
Well, I do remember another time that Mom got in trouble. She did amazing. I have to say that first. She could whip up something out of
so
nothing.
many of us are alive.
She's amazing.
Yeah, food poisoning was not an issue in our
But
household.
and still to this day, a bit of like a refrigerator hoarder type. I mean, nothing goes bad. According to her, nothing goes bad. Scrape the mold off the top, practically.
A little bit of mold's not bad for you.
Jams and dressings never go bad. They could be archivally old in there.
There's almost never anything rancid. There's almost never anything really bad.
She loves
There's
freezing
just
things, too.
Stuff that you're like, well, I guess it's mostly fat. That's probably fine then. What do you do with that later? Never. Actually, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't know how are you gonna use that? Somehow. Great. Good for you.
Well, so what ended up happening was over the course of many days, there would be a buildup of leftovers. And she would occasionally do a leftover night where you're having leftovers or whatever. But she also did that refrigerator cleanup soup where she would take everything that kind of made sense and throw it all into a soup. And, she'd put like oatmeal in there from breakfast to thicken it up. And it sounds so gross and mostly it was horrible.
It was a fine balance that you're trying to
realizing
achieve.
as you described this, I'm fully aware this existed, aware of it, never tried it on my own, but fully not dismissing this concept.
Yeah, I think you're too young.
I'm just like, okay, well, we didn't really lock that in. We started doing dinner nights at some point way too early, but
it was when she went back to school.
I think this is exactly why I'm a fan of Big Brother and somebody getting stuck on slop, because it's somewhere stuck in my brain from when I was growing up that oh no, that's just everything from the kitchen. Good luck. That's not going to taste good, man. You'll stay alive, but you will not, and don't bring that to school with you.
Yeah, well, there was one time where she made a refrigerator cleanup soup, RC soup.
It was called RC soup.
And
I always thought it was garbage stew.
Oh, I think we eventually started calling it garbage stew, but it was originally...
I wonder if it was the reverse. I wonder if it was garbage stew sounded so terrible that she renamed it refrigerator cleanup soup. I don't know. Anyway.
Rebranding. Okay.
But one time she made it and the kids were complaining, us older kids trying to eat it. Mom, this is terrible. And Dad was like, he took one bite and he was like, Mary, the kids can't eat this. The kids can't eat this. One time that happened. Other times we had to eat it.
What did we do? Cereal? I mean, what would have been the alternative?
I don't know.
But not cereal though, because that was my go-to move to feed John when we were growing up, because I'm not trying to bake anything. Do you want to just eat cereal and watch TV? Great. But when we were growing up, if there was some fiasco with dinner, something went wrong, breakfast for dinner, that was so
you could have
good.
scrambled eggs,
so good,
or pancakes, because she had that griddle, man.
Ooh, that griddle was killer.
I don't think it was even that big, but it seemed to be able to cook a lot.
I think she could do 6
eggs.
6 pancakes, 6 eggs at the same time. About that, it's not
like the
huge.
size of a good sized cookie sheet.
Yeah.
I am now craving that camp steak, the frozen camp steak. It had that weird frozen pat of butter on top.
Yeah. I mean, it was
and it was basically a Salisbury steak.
A very thin Salisbury steak.
It was big friggin' hamburger.
Do you really think that was butter? Pretty sure it's just lard. It's just fat.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
I mean, it was yellow,
back,
so it was supposed to be butter.
But it was good.
I remember they came in a frozen brick.
Yes.
And, you had to kind of chisel them apart.
To wedge them apart. The one thing I do not like was that the Chinese food that came in a can with the water beans and veg. It was like the
chicken chow mein.
God, there was a chicken in that. It wasn't. I thought it was just chow mein.
It was just chow mein. Yeah.
It was
no.
Actually, now it really might have had chicken in it. I think that's my aversion to water chestnuts. They are like the devil's food.
That's just so funny.
They just have no
I think
flavor.
It did have that.
They just so little flavor, just crunch.
I like them. I don't know. I like a little crunch.
Between water chestnuts and hibiscus, they are both the nothing of their categories. And that's it. I just chewed it. There's no flavor, and we're done. Okay, great. Thanks.
And the things I don't like, I really don't like. I mean, when Mom would make those fried eggs, if there was a crunchular on there as a kid,
an overdone edge.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. That was I would start snapping my knees, dry heaving, and Mom would be like, "That's it. Get out of here. Take your egg to the bathroom."
Go eat it in the bathroom, knowing full well that you're going to flush it down the toilet.
Way to blow my story, but
sorry. I'm sorry.
So the one time I really got in trouble was I was notorious for that, but it was preschool and she sent me to the bathroom with my egg, which I'm like, okay, bye. So I went to the bathroom. And I was flushing down the toilet and she opened the door.
Oh, no.
Because she was so over it. And I think I did get a little spanking.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that one. Then I wised up because, we have dogs.
Yeah.
And if I just throw it out the window, they'll eventually find it and eat it. It's like a treat for them later.
I didn't realize that's what was happening.
Yeah, well, I knew not to flush the toilet anymore. I mean, it was probably all of her plumbing problems to this day are owed to me, and there's 2,500 backed up eggs in there.
There's some sewer chickens down there.
Oh my God,
start
for
a whole
sure.
society.
And so we had a dog about the dog would not be outside, so just throw out the window and be like, it'll shake out.
Listen, I'm not saying
1,000 ants will carry it
I
away.
miss Tippy or Junior, but
Oh,
we never really had any other dogs in my growing up. There were dogs prior to that, like what was it?
Broomall.
Yeah,
Yeah, Broomall.
Didn't really have any like great dogs as a kid in our household. We had Tippy, and Tippy had a chicken bone stuck in its throat. for
Okay,
like-
let's say that story for Patreon.
Oh yes. It's a little off color.
It's an insane story. The life of Tippy.
Oh, geez.
Where's Tippy even come from? Because honestly, when
I don't know.
As a
The name?
kid, we don't need to get into the story of it, but the look of the dog, it feels like you could have just knocked it over. That felt like the right name for that dog.
Oh, my God.
Tippy.
We have to
Tip
ask
over.
Mom. I don't know who named the dogs, but Junior was my dog, but
Yeah.
we'll get into Tippy. But yeah, so you didn't feed dogs from the table.
No.
Nothing like
No.
that. No, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I think that we grew up in a house that adventurous food, never ordering in, not takeout. So it was pretty much home cooked meals our entire childhood.
And we all kind of had to cook. So
Well,
we had
yes.
cooking skills, whether or not, like, people would ask me, can you cook? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I can because we had to. You were much more in a category of, like, enjoyed cooking with a flourish, like a different style of cooking.
And I grew up in the era of you're making your lunch for school. So even if you can't cook, you'll survive. You can just sandwiches for the
yeah,
rest
you
of your
could
life.
prepare stuff.
Oh gosh, when there'd be one slice of that budding sandwich meat that you could basally see through.
How did
And
we?
you're like, great.
How were we ever convinced that was a normal amount of meat to put on a sandwich? You look at that now as an adult, you're like, that's one serving.
Oh.
It says on the outside, it's one serving.
Mark
The whole
actually said
thing.
that
12
he goes,
slices for you.
Mark, my husband has actually said that he's like, well, it's like the whole pack goes on the sandwich. I'm like, no.
no. Oh,
I
no.
said, you were lucky if you got 2 slices.
2, 3.
Oh no, 3. You would have felt so guilty if you put 3 slices.
Yeah, no one
oh
better
my
catch
God.
you putting 3
because
slices on
3
there.
actually makes up a real slice in the real world. Like, how dare you be so gluttonous? There is no way. No. But I remember, when I
Carl
had.
Budding, you slice your meat too thin, sir.
Yeah.
I remember having a little pocket change and the downstairs refrigerator. What gall. I started to buy some of my own food and have it down there. And be like, don't touch my sandwich meat. Don't touch my special rolls. Don't touch my this or that. And I think I eventually got in trouble or somebody.
Why would you get in trouble? I mean, here's the thing. It was part of
Why
that
would you get in trouble for
independence
exactly
thing.
what our mother
Yeah.
does
Well,
still. Don't touch these special cookies. We're not touching your cookies, Mom.
Cookies I get. We weren't allowed to eat in our room,
No.
No.
but you could have food in your room almost like hiding it.
You could? What?
Well,
what are you
I
talking
did.
about?
I don't know. You have to do what you have to do.
Well, I'm excited that Sunday dinners are coming back. So whether or not you're going to be there, I think it'll be
We'll be
good.
there for some of them. I just
No,
don't
I
think
mean,
this
that's the-
first
this first
one.
one, yeah.
No.
Bit. Be there for some of them.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Or John and I be there for every single one.
Yeah, you're pretty much there for every
It'll
single
be
one.
interesting because Mark's mom is similar to this, and I have a couple of girlfriends and friends that have talked about this. That most of them were raised because of the generation we are, similar to what we just talked about. All the meals were made home cooked by their mothers, varying degrees of success, but
Right. Mhm. But cooking happening in the house for sure.
But now, if you ask, most of their moms cannot crank out that meal or a big family meal without some difficulty. They just got out of practice.
Oh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, I think there's something to do with their taste buds because, I'll go over to see my mother-in-law's house. I mean, for a while, they almost did no seasoning because my father-in-law and high, keeping
Sodium.
everything, high sodium.
Right. Trying to
and-
keep it down.
And when you go to cooking school, like I did, to replace it with alternatives. That didn't happen. It's
There
just
was no replacing.
no alternative. And I remember and for some reason, even out of his aunt's house, Aunt Barbara, who I love, there would not be salt and pepper on the table.
Oh,
And if you asked for it, it was like, what?
how dare you?
And it's like, if you go to cooking school and actually the amount of salt you add as a personal chef at home or the dash of salt you add to something is not raising your blood pressure, your cholesterol, none of that. It's all the processed food.
Yeah, mostly the packaged food
So
is
the
the
idea of me going this is a little underseasoned. I'd like pepper and maybe a dash of salt. I mean, it was treated like such an insult. And you're like, but I'm
there
really
isn't
not
any.
enjoying this like at all. Like, so it took me a while to like get my husband, aware of this. And now there's like gourmet salt. I mean, like I love pink Himalaya,
Oh yeah, sure.
but you actually need iodized salt in your diet. So it's, it's a balance. But yeah, I mean, it just, Mom, I feel like I'm happy that there are people there to help her get the dinner across the table, because it's a lot.
For a big group like
And she's
that, yeah.
never been great at timing. I mean,
Oh no.
I'll say this. There isn't like a meal plan going on right now. There's a current Mary Killmond making her meal every night. And I'm watching it and going, that it's going to last a lot longer. I know it's going to last a lot longer, but at some point, I will probably want to help out with that meal prep.
Even her
Yeah,
like,
it's just like
single meal
sometimes
preparation?
you're sitting there while she's getting it ready, and it's like, woo, you got 4 things going on. I don't know how much longer you can keep this going on, getting your dinner ready at 8 o'clock at night, but
8
at some
o'clock,
point,
see-
she's like she's changed.
Who else likes to have dinner at 8 p.m.?
I like to eat late because it's my European blood.
Oh.
But
Excuse.
Mark is of the same preference as our father. He would like to eat before 7. I mean, 6 o'clock he would love, because Mark was raised pretty much in a family that dinner was on the table at 6 o'clock. Our family, now remember Dad.
Sorry to interject, but forget about it. Mark and his dad, both fishermen. You got to be up at the crack of dawn. They're eating. The joke being Mark's dad having Bobby's call for his second breakfast, right? Yeah. So there's early eating happening. You have a picky stomach too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just that I think that exactly how I'd wake up my father-in-law early to be a contractor. So, by 6 o'clock, he is done. He wants dinner and to be in bed by 8:39. Mark, my husband, works in finance, which being on the West Coast, he's up very early, same type of deal. But growing up, our father, he wanted dinner at 7 o'clock. And
Well,
it was
earlier if he could
always-
get it, but I don't think.
But he didn't always roll in at 6 o'clock, because
Yeah.
depending on if he was working or working at his store, which was open till 6, he might not roll into 6:30. So by 7, he was definitely aggro and ready to have dinner. Mm-hmm. And that didn't always happen. And I mean, holidays were another thing. I mean, I know some people like have Thanksgiving. It's almost like lunchtime,
Oh yeah, that's a real.
which is so
Right, like
foreign
supper
to us.
and dinner. Get out of here.
But Mark would love to have dinner at 3 o'clock. I'm like, well, then
3
you get up
o'clock?
at freaking 6 a.m. and put the turkey in the oven.
Yeah, that's not our
Because
vibe.
that's what it would take. And I'm like, so everybody would be over at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? I mean, like, right?
Yeah, it's a weird half to full day, because then the whole idea is then you have your first set of leftovers for dinner that night. You have leftovers.
Right.
like turkey
together.
sandwiches at.
It's wild. We
9
don't
o'clock.
do that.
No. But Mom, some of these large family dinners, she, and I would invite my in-laws to some of them in the past, or guests would come. And, I mean, typically when you're hosting a dinner party, you want the main course in the oven going before
Oh, yeah.
guests arrive. You maybe frosted a birthday cake before the
No,
party started.
not our mom.
Steps have happened.
No.
Yeah. So there's just things like that, which the anxiety, I mean, you need to have a lot of wine on hand, which that doesn't always necessarily happen, but you're like, let me get you a drink, somebody, and their appetizers, because I know you got here at 6, but dinner might not be till 8. I mean,
Seriously, I'm just now putting myself in a mindset of a Wes Anderson version of our childhood growing up. Some guest coming over, like a Bill Parrish or something like that, and being shuffled back to the living room, getting him a drink, bringing him the chips, whatever we've got. Spend an hour in there. 'Cause
an hour,
dinner
that
is
would have
not
been
ready.
good. An hour, I mean, I would have my in-laws come quite often, and that caused me such anxiety, because going back to saying Hal was ready to eat.
Yeah.
So if he got to our house at 6,
Oh God, forget it.
6:30, 6:45, 7, 7:15, 7:30. I was like, oh my God. So I'd be in there trying to do anything to move it along quickly. So that's why, I mean, most dinners in our early adulthood, if Mom hosted, which was very nice of her, I'd be in there practically co-hosting and like pushing along and helping her however I could, because I went to cooking school, and had a catering company, so I can kind of grind out stuff pretty quickly. But it was like, oh my God, my father-in-law has low blood sugar. He's going to pass out. He's not going to make. And actually, one time we did have someone pass out. Their blood sugar got
What? Who?
Yes, Dee Dee had a boyfriend. Oh God! And so he was his.
So
blood
your sister-in-law.
Yeah, it was just a boyfriend, and his blood sugar was getting low. And so he made himself something to eat, and Mom got like all aggro, and I had to be like, Mom, he is diabetic. He is literally about to pass. He can wait. I go, no, he actually can't. And we are an hour plus the call time. Like, lady. So, but now that we all kind of pitch in, and I don't know, there's pre-planning, and everybody pitches in, right? No?
For what?
Well, someone will bring salad, someone will bring bread. No,
For the first Sunday dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not really why it works. It works because me and Ed actually try to figure it out.
Nice.
Way in advance.
I don't know. I was trying to think back here, as I usually don't say anything. I was like, well, why did it was always late. It was like, I know when it's breakfast and like, oh, you're just coming back. And so now even you and your guest arriving at the same time and you're starting breakfast. Cool. Okay, let me watch you cook breakfast. Not as long of a time. But why would she do that at dinner? Why would it make sense at all? I mean, yeah, you lost your child slaves to be working on it all day. Maybe is it because of restaurant? Like, well, you got the order for dinner, so then you start. Why? I don't know what her approach was. Anyway, now it's very much it's the biggest back time plan. It every time is sort of a nightmare to get that happening.
Well, Rosie says it's a Killmond gene. It's called the pile-on. So you're having a dinner. It's like, okay, so it's kind of the day should be focused on that or getting that ready or know that you need the 2 or 3 hours before or whatever, right? But sometimes the Killmond gene kicks in and the pile-on happens or a nap happens or, something that throws off your timing. And I remember there was this Easter. Mark and I were living in our first house. And I'm not even sure if you two boys were there because not everybody came home for spring break if they were off away in college. I think Rosemary and possibly might have been her husband at the time. People were coming to Easter dinner. I think Mom was baking the ham. And I was like making macaroni and cheese, green beans, and a dessert. And I had come the day before to set the table.
Oh, gosh.
And I was coming before. And then I called, and I think it was another time my in-laws or someone's there's all this pressure. And I called to ask, oh, hey, what's going on? It was like, well, Mom's upstairs taking a nap. Someone else is out on a walk. This and that. When are you going to get here? And I was like, this isn't even at my house. Like, what the hell? It's like, I would have liked a nap. I've been making green beans because I had to. Easter's usually you have a brunch or you go to a brunch and then you have dinner, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I spent all the time in between doing what I was going to be responsible for. And it's like, you're asking, when am I going to get there? So I was so pissed. I sent Mark before. I was like, I don't even think I'm going to go. I'm like, this is not my house. I'm not co-hosting this. What the hell? Oh, and I think we're making Mark wanted to make biscuits. It was so
from scratch or something.
Yes, it was so involved. So I finally went. And then Mom tells me off when I get there, why I'm late and not there to help. And that was one of those moments that I was like, we're going to need a therapy session over this because I was like, if you're hosting, it's your house and I'm more than willing to help, but I can't be responsible for getting it basically across the finish line. It's your house. Mm-hmm. If I host, you don't come early. You usually are late. You don't come and help me, but you're the mother, you're the matriarch. I'm willing to help you, but this is insane. You were taking a nap. I was like, oh my God. So it's a little different now, but that was in the heat of every family holiday. I felt like I was carrying the brunt of it.
Well, and that's what I didn't say is because what seems to be what ends up happening is she is relying on, okay, people are arriving, or we're going to start, all these people are going to arrive, and then they're going to help me to do things. You're like, well, shouldn't you have had those things done beforehand? You shouldn't be waiting for people to arrive to then help without also asking and planning that. And also, it's not one little thing. It's oh, no, there's a million things still to do.
The table's not set.
That would be fine. It's oh, I haven't even started the mashed potatoes.
The table's not cleared.
What?
And also the mashed potatoes. And, oh, my gosh.
So that is the plan that she ends up doing, which I was saying, well, why did she do that as opposed to whatever the other plans that have ever happened? But it's hard to avoid for her, and I don't know why it makes sense. I mean, I fully sign on to the pile-on normally. I think all of us are Killmonds to a degree. But I view the dinner/holiday planning slightly differently because it's well, it's happening. And I think there's a weird like confidence, like, well, I could pull it all off in an hour before it's happening. It's like, well, that would be impossible. Some of the things take longer than that. So how would that work?
The chicken has to bake for an hour, so no.
I just had a revelation because I had not talked about that Easter, debacle in 2 decades probably. I just realized, I'm very lucky. Mark is a co-host. And usually family members everybody's pretty helpful.
I don't want to step on what you're about to say, but I was thinking the exact same thing, maybe a little stepped back a little earlier from that. I'm like, man, I don't remember Dad setting the table or helping anything on any time ever. Mom's in the kitchen solo for hours. No wonder why it was so hard. She was doing it by herself. Because I don't think that's how Liz experiences it. So back to you, but I was like just getting the same energy on that.
Yeah, but I was going to say yes, that's somewhat the direction I was going, but building on what John was saying was that, I have a great support system. Mark actually really enjoys doing it and will do equal, if not sometimes more, than the lifting on whatever event, dinner we're having. And now my son, Ethan, can be very helpful. And like I said, and the rest of the family, if I ask anybody to do anything, usually very helpful. But looking back on Mom, especially after Dad died and most of them moved away to college or had our own homes, that had to be a lot. And so to have someone like me who naturally enjoys doing it.
It has skills.
And 90% of the time just got in there and helped. Then, like I said, unfortunately, like that particular holiday, I almost felt taken advantage of. But now I see it as an adult and I'm like, well, of course. I mean, who else was she going to lean on and needed? Because when we were kids, yes, Dad could be sporadically oddly helpful and, mostly yelling at us to help her. But, like Thanksgiving.
You need a coach.
Right. Get in there, kids.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of what John was saying was like as kids, I don't know why we have every root vegetable imaginable at Thanksgiving that need to be peeled and boiled. Yeah. But, all of us would line up and do that. And you would do things and then set the table. And so everyone would sort of pitch in. So even Mom always likes a bit of chaos. So there was always chaos in the kitchen. Everybody was helping. I got to imagine after Dad passed away and a lot of us were not there like
to do anything.
Like the fun would be taken out of it. So of course she was like waiting for us to get there to help her. It's like she didn't want to do it alone before, because even family dinners, I was in the kitchen, some kid was doing homework on the counter. There was always chaos surrounding her while she did it. Think about it, back to working at the counter at the restaurant.
Well, she's so social.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Yeah.
So she'd rather do it with people there. So why not wait till they're there? So that puts a little in perspective for me of like, well, of course she'd rather wait for like a cohort team member to come and help her do it than be doing it herself.
Well, and see, I don't know if we should even get into a people's restaurant or catering experience, but because theoretically,
a different podcast.
I know that would not be how you do it, because you you do your sauce prep or whatever in the morning. I don't know these things. I haven't worked in these places, but like, because I want to say, oh, she's approaching it like a restaurant. I'm gonna make it all right before, and you're like, that is. You not enough time. This is not for one. You don't have a whole team in your kitchen to do this for you. But that's also not how you would do it in a restaurant. So it doesn't work. I don't know.
I do feel like there is an unspoken optimism in the fantasy of how much time you have to get ready for something, where you think you're going to be able to get all this stuff done. It turns out you only have an hour, and it takes an hour and a half to do that.
Yeah.
That I definitely feel like that optimism, that overreach is like, our mom definitely is still overreaching. Many, many times she's very, very busy, and getting to a big dinner, like a family dinner on a Sunday, there's no way she could make it across the finish line. At this point, it takes more than just people bringing stuff.
It takes the whole family.
Like, she's thinking about it days in advance when the cleaning ladies are going to show up and vacuum, and then don't walk anywhere that would be disturbed by that. You're like, well, that's all the places that we would normally walk for the next 5 days. No. It'll be fine. It'll still look nice in a couple days. But there's like multiple days of prep, whereas it used to be like, oh, we're having people over tonight. Clean up, vacuum right now, dust everything.
Well, it goes back to what it's called. It's a family dinner. So all of us in various ways should pitch in and support the family dinner. It's not Mom having us over for dinner. So
yeah. And
that's the difference. And I will say some hostess tips.
That, by the way, that's your interpretation. That's giving you license to do this. That's, again, not the concept. But
well, what is the concept?
A family dinner. Yes, we are hosting it. You just come if you can come. Period. End of concept.
But if I am coming,
no.
I want to bring something to enhance the chicken and mashed potato only dinner. I cannot. No.
Listen, I give you 100% approval to bring over a salad for yourself and put it in the downstairs fridge. No one will touch it.
No. So I was going to say some hostess tips. You should ideally set your table the day before.
Ginny does that. Ginny
Really
has
smart. I do for the big holidays because there's just no way. What are you looking at me this way, John? What do you mean? Set the table. We set up the tables the day before Thanksgiving.
Yes, tables, not table settings.
I always do Thanksgiving the day before.
We might do the tables. We
Right.
don't. Oh, okay.
They said set the table?
Yeah.
Do you mean like actually put the
Place
settings,
and
or do you mean just like
silverware and cups and stuff? That's what we're talking. That's what you're saying, right?
So I'm saying no, we don't put the plate. Maybe I'm misremembering the last couple Thanksgivings.
Yeah, no. Those tables get pretty much close to set.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, Voss. No more hostess tips. Forget it. I'll take all my knowledge.
No, I want more hostess tips for all of my hosting that I do. None.
I had one
Of?
last little piece that I was trying to. I finally remember what I was trying to attach to that over-optimistic mom that we have. Sometimes, and I think it's great that you get these stories out of trying to aim for too much or trying to do too much. It's that you get these really crazy stories, and sometimes they do work out, and sometimes you leave the rolls in the oven for the entire dinner.
Oh, yeah.
That I feel like that is like the highest level of I thought I could do it all. My optimism got me. Burned all the rolls. Sorry, everyone. I can't believe no one ever mentioned that there was a slightly toasty smell or where is the bread with this meal?
Oh, it would have been nice to have bread. Oh, we did have bread. It is still in the oven and now burnt. Oh, whoops.
That is why hostess tip number 2, do not contradict me, John. You write out your menu list. So right before you serve dinner, you can look down
And go, where are the rolls?
I don't do rolls so much, but I will have put something in the outside refrigerator, whether it be a salad or something, and then be like, oh, it's outside refrigerator. Go get it. So yes, write down what you're serving so you can check it just to make sure you've actually served it all.
Good idea.
Okay. Well, on that note,
Oh, we only get 2 hostess tips?
that's it.
All right.
That's it. So thank you for listening to Family Dynamics. Please subscribe, like, comment, review. We appreciate it.
You can follow us on all of our social media at Family DynamiKs with a K, and we have a Patreon. You can find us on Patreon.
We're going to tell that Tippy story right now.
Oh, yeah, and become a patron, and you can hear the Tippy story.
There you go.
Okay, thank you for listening to
Family
Family
Dynamics.
Dynamics.